Welcome back, you guys, to the Chopping It Up podcast. I am your co-host, Chartel.
And I'm Farris, episode 4.
Woo! Mental health in the Black community.
Yes.
We have a very special guest with us here today, you all.
We have the man, the myth, the legend.
Yes.
Some call the boogeyman.
We'll let him introduce himself to you all.
Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So introduce yourself, sir.
My name is Farris Glover Sr.
What? Are you any relation to our Farris on the podcast?
That's my protege.
Oh,
there.
Look, I like that protege. Yes. That's right.
I am the executive director, founder and executive director of My Home Inc., which is a community health and social service agency here in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Nice.
Yes.
I love that. Yes. So we have
doing God's work out here.
Doing God's work. The legend and the protege. Ooh, we are in here with royalty, y'all. Get ready. Y'all are in for a ride. Get ready.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
All right, friend. Should we jump right into Blase Blase?
Yes, ma'am. Let's do that.
All right. And remember, you guys, Blase Blase is our segment where we talk about what's on our mind. Can be anything out there, right? Just what's on our mind.
Just anything is kind of just, freely talking.
Yep.
Anything that's in the media, anything that's on our mind.
Yeah.
And so the thing that kind of came to my mind that I've heard recently is this, Tim Scott, who's a senator out in South Carolina. And then we have Kamala Harris, who's obviously the vice president of the United States of America.
Yep.
First Black vice president. And they were saying that inherently the United States as a whole is not racist. Mm-hmm. However, there's certain pockets or, white supremacist agenda or people out there. Mm-hmm. And so to me, I just feel like, come on now. Like, you think that you were the only qualified person of color to be the vice president, the first one ever? No. Mm-hmm. I think there's systematic things in place that just now are starting to kind of be lifted that got you in that position, right?
Right.
And just like Tim Scott, I think he's the first Black senator of South Carolina. So you're telling me that you're the first Black person there to be qualified to be South Carolina senator?
I'm a little right. So just some info. I remember Lindsey Graham is another Black man that ran.
No, Lindsey Graham is white.
No, I'm sorry. Okay, he won. Who ran against him? It was another Black guy that ran against Lindsey Graham, but that wasn't.
I think that he was a younger guy.
A younger Black guy. So what were they running for? I'm just asking. I don't know,
but I'll look it up right now.
Okay. And you know what? So wait, is it for South Carolina? Is it Tim Scott and Lindsey Graham? Are they U.S.?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
I got it.
both.
Okay.
Correct.
So that makes sense. So never mind. You have to look it up. Okay.
Yes.
Right. That makes sense. Okay. So the younger Black guy younger 30s, I think, that ran against Lindsey Graham was going for, I would assume, Tim Scott's was running
position,
for.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, Lindsey Graham is the incumbent.
Right.
He was already there.
And that's who the Black guy was running, whose name escapes me.
Yes,
but now it's Lindsey Graham and Tim Scott, Black man, old white guy representing South Carolina. And the Black guy doesn't think racism exists in America.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't.
But go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say Papa Glover. That's what I'm going to call him this show, Papa Glover. You had a good point when we were talking before the show, like just the feeling that the little sprinkle of privilege some Black people can get.
Correct. And Tim Scott is definitely the beneficiary of that. And again, my point that I was trying to make is that, Tim Scott has benefited from, being in the shadow of white privilege. So we really live in two different worlds than Tim Scott does. Tim Scott, again, has that privilege. The average Black person doesn't experience those kind of things. We don't have the luxury of if in fact, I'm sure Mr. Scott is pulled over by a state trooper immediately, he's treated with a lot of respect, and then he's, told to go on his way, regardless to what he was pulled over for.
Right.
If that was one of us, we see the
statistics.
Well, not just the statistics,
the reality.
But the reality.
We've
absolutely.
Seen it.
The reality of what happens, and people are generally afraid, to be pulled over by the police. And when they do, it's not a pleasant outcome.
Well, it was like that, excuse me. I think it was he I think he was an active lieutenant.
Yes.
And so he was saying they were asking him to get out of his car. He had
in
a
uniform,
seatbelt
right?
on. In uniform. He had a
Mm-hmm.
seatbelt on. So of course he's like, he doesn't want to reach
out.
for this, the
buckle to get out.
Out, right? And then he said that he fears for his life. And then the officer, who's a Hispanic guy, Gutierrez, you should be scared.
That's right.
Like, come on now.
Right. Yeah. Flashback to our first episode, Blacks and Hispanics, but that's a combo for another time.
And just because he's named Gutierrez does not necessarily mean that he is Hispanic.
Ooh.
Or that that's true.
Now,
he may be of Hispanic ancestry, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he
identifies that way. Nope. You're absolutely right about that.
Mm-hmm. And then to circle back around, so it was Jamie Harrison who he actually set record-setting numbers against Lindsey Graham. Mm-hmm. Blacks, whites, liberals,
which
moderates.
Which I think speaks to where America is going. I think we're all sick of the divisiveness, right? So I'm coming back to privilege, right? Like, Jamie Harrison was able to set record-setting numbers, fundraising, got really close. The numbers were really tight, the race. And he ended up losing, but I think that speaks to and that's Deep South, South Carolina, right? So I think that speaks to just where America is headed and how some people are afraid of that. Right. So now we got to try to backtrack, right? Tim Scott, oh, no, we're good. We're not actually racist. It's like the pockets of white supremacists. Those are the exception, not the rule.
Right.
Well, if you ask me, they're the reality, right? Mm-hmm. I was speaking to someone, the situation escapes me, but it was this conversation of America. I also could have been watching TV. America was founded on immigration, right? Like that's how we all got here. Yeah. But now we've turned, but in a certain immigrant.
With an I and an E.
Yeah. But a certain one, right? Mm-hmm. That looks like a certain person.
Correct.
So now, to have this idea that no, America was like the Big Bang Theory, right? Like, no, you guys are so far outside of American history. Don't even know what to say about it. Mm-hmm. But Kamala and Tim are playing. Yeah. I don't know what to say about them.
Yeah, because we didn't even really touch on Kamala, but it's just I feel like we as the Black community, and I'm not just saying it's just Black folks that got her elected, obviously. Mm-hmm. Allies helped out, right?
Right.
And it's for you to get on national TV and that's what you say. I think she should honestly come out and say something. You got to retract that statement.
She has to. It's a lie. She has to.
Or you have to expound on it. What are you talking about?
Say more, because I think too, and especially if, as a woman of color, to say that in this platform, I don't know what's going on. I am imagining that it's this idea of trying to bring everyone together, right? We're unified now, but we're not going to be unified by erasing America's racist history, right? It's morbid. That's why there's so many issues with that podcast that's out, 1619 that the New York Times did.
Project,
right. That's why people don't want that being taught.
That? Yes.
Yeah. I'm a Black woman, so I loved it. Mm-hmm. I'm yep, spot on. And it's still going on today. But then that's where I was getting confused with the Arkansas Senator, Tom Cotton, who, was threatening to pull funding from schools that would introduce this curriculum to public schools. And so that to me feels really weird. Why are you being so restrictive? Why are you being so what are you afraid of? Right?
If that's history, American history.
But your world is so small, right? It's so small in white privilege that you can't imagine anyone saying anything bad about it and making someone who looks like you bad.
Right.
I think that another driving force behind this whole divisiveness piece that's going on in this country is that the country is getting a lot more brown, and that terrifies, a lot of the established
majority
individuals who are in government, but also who control money.
Exactly.
So if money, the control of money, I should say, switches hands.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, what does that mean for, white folks?
Right. That are used to controlling it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yep. And that's the fear. Well, and I'm sick of it.
Right.
So round us out. Sorry, we're talking over each other.
No. I think that, we touched on, that's it.
Yeah.
And I think that we basically summed it up. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, it's just, what are you talking about? I would like further explanation or retract.
Right.
Retract what you said.
Yeah.
Right?
It's so dismissive.
Exactly.
And I don't like it.
But
all skin folk ain't kin folk.
Exactly. So let's get into what we came here for.
Yes, with our special
the man
guest.
of the hour.
Yes. So I would like to ask Papa Glover if you would just tell us more about what your company does. Like, what are some things you all do?
Well, we initially started out as a social service agency who provided reentry services to individuals who were African American and leaving a prison and reentering the community. So to provide them with transition services, counseling, housing resources, employment, educational resources, mental health referrals, and we did that for the first 10 or 11 years that My Home Inc. was in existence.
Okay.
And then when we had the recession of 2010, we had to train or change our strategy and move from just working with corrections clients to, again, trying to, we licensed ourselves as a substance abuse and mental health agency here in St. Paul.
Okay.
And so since that time, what we've done is we provide substance abuse and mental health services to African Americans as a matter of fact, the 5-county metro area. And we've been doing that for about 26 and a half years now. We also provide MAT, which is medication-assisted therapy, or MAT services to individuals who are opiate dependent, or dependent on, hydrocodone or
That's
heroin.
been big in the last couple of years.
Absolutely, within the last couple of years. And we just formed a very unique partnership with Ramsey County Public and Mental Health. So we'll be in 2 locations, 651 University, where our primary location is at, and 1919 University, which is Ramsey County Mental Health.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I'm telling you, right? That's amazing. We're so glad you're here and you're doing this work. Yes,
Thank you.
That's amazing. So we had a listener / viewer, because we also do a video component, send in lots of questions. So Lauren, we appreciate this.
Thank you, Lauren.
Yes. And so I'll just start by asking how mental health is still a stigma for Black people, especially in the Bible Belt.
I don't know about the Bible Belt, but I think that when you look at mental health overall, there is a stigma, like you said, that's associated with that it's amazing that a lot of the clients that we provide services to, who need both substance abuse and mental health services, they don't mind claiming the substance abuse, but the mental health is a stigma that they don't want to touch at all, So we still struggle with that today.
Gotcha.
Here in, Minnesota and above the Bible Belt.
Yeah. And I would imagine because substance abuse, it's something you can see and do, right?
Absolutely.
Like we see the problem. This is here.
Right.
And then a lot of times substance abuse mask mental health issues as well.
Right. So they're not, exclusionary. So,
Absolutely.
And I may be wrong, but sometimes you can get mental health illnesses or diagnoses from substance abuse, correct?
Oh, absolutely. There's, psychotic delirium, a lot of different things that can occur when a person is using excessive amounts of one substance or another.
Yeah. So I don't know if you know this, Papa Glover. I'm from Georgia, so I'm happy to speak about the Bible Belt component. Yes, down there it's mostly let's just pray it away, right? You've got demons inside.
Right.
We're going to do all of these things, right? Because mental health, no, you just need to pray it away. You need to go sleep. You need to man/woman up and just get it together. It's depression specifically, like just get out of bed and do it. Like just get it together, right? So there's this like dismissive component when you're vulnerable, right? And I think Black people just in general have taken on more than they've needed to and have needed to push through things. But now it feels like we're in this really unique space in which we get to take care of ourselves now.
Correct.
Right. And so now, at least my generation, we're having different conversations with like our parents and our grandparents, about stuff that they probably experienced, but never put a name to, never got treatment for, they just did it. But now I feel like our generation and younger, it's like, oh no, we're going to we can do it all, right? We can pray and go to therapy and use, psychiatric treatment if we need to, right? We can do all of these things. It doesn't have to be only one way. And I don't think if you choose like a scientific route, that means you're turning your back on God, which I think is a fear as well down there.
I agree. But I also think that, I'm glad that we're at a point now today where the church, is not the sole provider of everything,
right.
To our community, especially, But I think that one of the things that we have looked at, and especially, since I came into the field, 1980s, I think that sometimes, it's bad, when you have a family who is, being afflicted, by either, substance abuse or domestic violence.
Right.
And they say, okay, well, instead of, taking our business to a therapist or to bring it out in the community, we'll take it to the pastor in the church and let the pastor take care of it.
Yep.
Very bad mistake. Very bad mistake, because a lot of times, even though pastors are well-meaning,
right,
they're ill-equipped
to
deal with mental health services. Absolutely.
Do you think COVID had a deal in that with the church kind of stepping back because you couldn't go?
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
So that kind of allowed you to, I guess, kind of just find other means to your solution, right? But
a lot of disservice occurred when pastors encouraged their parishioners not to take the COVID vaccine. And that's a lot more prevalent in the Bible Belt than it is here
in the North.
In the North.
We don't want that devil juice.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
we
right.
don't want that.
That's how you feel.
That's what the people down south feel. That's what they feel. I'm just telling what the people want to hear. Yeah, that's what the people saying down there. We don't want that devil. We don't want that devil thing. We'll just figure it out. Again, I think because I'm thinking about something from Georgia. Governor Kemp was like, "Fuck these masks.
Right.
Wait, this not real." White man, right? But the mayor, Keisha Bottoms, a black woman, is like, y'all better keep those masks on. Like Atlanta, the CDC lives here. It literally lives here.
But Governor Kemp also got vaccinated.
Yes, it was the first one.
Absolutely,
was the first one. So you tell me, sir, what's going on? And that's the discrepancy, right? Where I'm just like, I can't be worried about it. But yeah, that is a harmful message, right? Kind of attaching science to religion. So God doesn't want you to take this. God will, provide for you and make you safe. And yes, in some instances, but also he gave us science. So let's also use that as well. But
and common sense.
And common sense. Ooh,
I think when common sense is number one.
Child, with that gas shortage and stuff, I'm sick of people. Anywho, that's another dive. But yes, I think you're right about the church can be harmful in that way.
Yes.
So quick question. In your opinion, what is the biggest present day problem for the Black community?
I think that not just the Black community, but communities of color in general are underserved when it comes to mental health services, substance abuse services, services for housing, education, you name it. I can sit here and say in all honesty that, it's amazing how you can take a Black person who is struggling with addiction and refer them to a program, and whatever the most appropriate approach, to dealing with that addiction might be, is something that will be less than for the white community. Even when you look at the opiate addiction right now, a lot of African Americans and other people of color are usually referred to methadone programs if they have opiate problems. But white individuals get referred to Suboxone, a Subutex,
exactly.
And I think that that's one of the things that I'm really glad that Ramsey County is very open to with working with my agency, because we don't refer clients for methadone treatment.
So can you explain that to listeners who don't know? They're not in the mental health field. They may wonder, okay, so what is the difference between Suboxone and methadone?
The difference is that where methadone was a synthetic form of opiate that was developed really for a German general, to help him with his addiction of opiates, and has been used primarily for the past 60 years, in treating opiate addiction. But now with the advances of new medications that have come along, new synthetic forms that are a lot less addictive, but they block, the cravings, the desires in such a way where methadone is a long-term, you never get off of it, where Suboxone is something different, where we have our clients start Suboxone and they immediately are placed on a step-down program.
So is Kratom in that same category? You have the Kratom tea, you have Kratom pills. Mm-hmm. Is Kratom in the same as Suboxone or methadone?
I'm not sure what Kratom is. I mean, I have heard of everything.
So Kratom is a tea. Mm-hmm. Or Kratom is a substance that it kind of mimics heroin, like the feeling that you would get from it. And so people
sell this?
Yeah. You can get it at GNC.
Oh my gosh.
You can get it at any store.
Really?
That sounds
You can get it at a lot of stores.
Awful.
And it gives you that stimulation, the euphoric feeling. Because I have clients that they want that, so we're like, all right, well, you take this tea, and then we kind of the same situation, wean them off as time goes down.
So they would be addicted to heroin?
It's an herb.
Okay. So they'd be addicted to heroin and then would use this tea to step down?
Correct.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, that sounds like it could be under the same umbrella.
Yeah. Wow. So that's what I was curious about.
Interesting. I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Yeah. Kratom tea.
Yeah.
Substance abuse.
Don't use it though, because you will get addicted.
Don't use it. No, we're not advertising at all.
You will
get
addicted.
No, we use Earl Grey tea.
Okay.
Yes, with lemon or milk.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I think I don't do substance abuse work, but some of the things I've heard is that substance is addictive, right? But there's also this component of how lucrative certain treatments can be, and so it becomes capitalism more important to keep people addicted to use some of those artificial forms, right, than to absolve them of the addiction, because then the money train starts, which I think is terrible. So I guess it is a reality. So I'm just saying that information. But I guess I also would like to ask you, in your perfect world, how would you treat substance abuse / addiction?
Well, my world is not so perfect, but I think that treating substance abuse is something that I take very seriously, and I make sure that I make my clients understand that, it's not just the substance abuse that you're in this program for. It's the choices that you make. It's how you cope, with different stressors that you encounter, So it has to be a combination of both substance abuse as well as motivational counseling to have them take a look at themselves in a more holistic manner. Why am I moving in this direction? What is it that what is going on with me? That when I have those cravings to use most, is it a relationship? And it's not a relationship so much with anybody else. It's a relationship that we have with ourselves. For sure. Because in the end, the greatest relationship we'll all have is the one that we have with ourselves. Yep. Not with another person. Right. Mm-hmm. So if you had your perfect world, you had all the things you needed, how would you cure substance abuse / addiction? What would you do? At first I'd have to be honest, with myself and I guess everybody else that's in my perfect world, and say that, people are going to always want to escape. They're always looking for a means of escape. It's true when they say, it's amazing how somebody can look at you and say, oh, how green the grass is in your yard. Yep. When they don't look in their own yard and say, hey, I might not be as green as she is, but I do have some green. Yeah. Absolutely. And with work, I can make it as green. Yeah, exactly. So I think telling the truth about, the reality of substance abuse, the reality of mental illness as well. Right. Yeah. That can be, substance abuse can be, stigma too. Oh, he just, so-and-so just has his issues and we just kind of deal with them. Yeah, absolutely. Ooh, let's talk about the enablism, right? And maybe even too, not
maliciously, right? So just kind of like the tools we have in ourselves, like, you know, as Black families where we don't really know what to do to help our family members or friends that may be suffering from this, right? So then it does become this indirect enabling, right? Where it's, oh yeah, you know, he just struggles a lot and, you know, he'll go for a little bit and come back. And, you know, I flushed his heroin down the toilet and he got mad and then he was gone for 2 weeks. Like, you know, all these things we try to do, but are ill-equipped to do for, you know, a multitude of reasons, systemic things. And then, yeah, it just kind of goes and goes, and we're kind of finding that spot where we can help, you know, families and our people.
Well, I feel like that's where families or just individuals who are dealing with people who have addictions, they need to seek counseling, therapy as well, because it's like, I mean, I have
like
a family,
the families around.
Exactly. I have a family member right now who I literally have not seen this person sober in like 4 years.
Wow.
And it's like, eventually it comes to a point in time for me, like I don't have that medical background to know, all right, these are the steps that I have to take, right? So it becomes to a point where I'm like, I just need to step back. I'm gonna let you do you.
Right.
I'm gonna do me, right? But at the same time, as a relationship though, that's not, I feel guilty because that's not right, right? So what do I need to do in order to help, you know, facilitate this person to either recovery or just a better, like lifestyle.
Right.
Don't keep the secret. You know, make sure that you step outside your comfort zone and go to individuals who do have expertise in these areas.
Right.
You know, and bring them in.
Right.
You know, even though it may upset, you know, the normal routine of a family, and it probably would, but that might not be a bad thing.
Right.
You know?
Let's talk about what we all know is going on.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like what you said, Farris, like the family being involved in therapy too, because it's not just the person, right? The clinical term, identified patient / client. So it's not just them, right? It's how the network is supporting. What is your family system doing to help, to not help, to enable, to prohibit? Like, let's all talk about it, because you're not the only one that's affected just because you have this disease, right? It's people around you that need to know what to do to help and to process their own stuff, right?
I agree.
So another question we had from Lauren, because I don't know if you find this, Papa Glover, but a lot of people, especially in the Twin Cities, are looking for providers. People of color are looking for providers that look like them, right? And I think that's a barrier too, but I think that's just quantity, right? There's not a lot of Black people practicing. I think we have more people doing it, but I think it's just a numbers issue. So Lauren was wanting to know, like, how can we, I guess, find people that look like us? Do you know of a database, an app or something? Like, how do we find people, especially if you are brand new to trying to find it, right? I might not know to go to Psychology Today or to ask this person or that person, but
or you may be scared.
Or I may be scared, and I don't want all these people to know that I'm looking, and I don't want all these people to, because
you don't just want to
know all my business.
You don't just want to post that on Facebook. Hey, by the way,
looking for recommendations.
Psychologist.
Exactly. I want my network to know I'm trying to do this. So how can I do it stealthily? And where do I even start? So do you have advice for people?
I think that, yes, there's definitely a resource guide that's available that all you have to do is, Black therapists, mental health providers in the Twin Cities area, and probably 50 will pop up.
There you go, yeah.
But one of the resources that I think that would be a good starting place, it's called the Kente Project.
Okay.
And they're located over by in South Minneapolis by Loring Park. The other thing is that, you made a statement about, you don't want to go on Facebook. Well, sometimes you might have to.
That's true.
If you don't know where to go, you got a Facebook family, reach out to them.
But people gonna know our business, Papa Glover.
That's I
can't let them know Johnny got a substance abuse issue.
You know what? There's so many people
grandma
who know
on Facebook.
that Johnny is off his mother, off his chain.
You're right.
So it ain't as big a secret as you think it is.
and
they just ain't saying nothing about it.
At the end of the day, you got to let that ego go. Right?
Absolutely.
Because you got to work in the mental health. You got to overcome
the fear.
Right.
You got to overcome the fear. And say which is more important.
Exactly.
My pride, or the fact that I want my son or my daughter or my nephew or somebody else to get the services that they need.
Yeah.
No,
that's a good point. I like the hey, I'm looking for a therapist for a friend of a friend. Like, does anyone, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't me though. I know it's like 2 people away from me, but you know, if y'all got recommendations, shoot them my way. If you want that extra layer of anonymity. So, but you're right. People know Johnny got issues. They just ain't saying nothing.
They ain't saying nothing.
It ain't a secret.
Oh man.
Oh gosh, that's such a good point. I'm gonna keep going through. Lauren had some really great questions.
Yeah, she really did though.
Yeah, she did. So we can kind of wrap back around to this, but why do you think, everyone, that it's hard to talk about mental health in our community, so the Black community? And you know, just so I know, Black people are Black people, right? I'm not grouping us into other people because we talk about Black folks today. So Black people. And yeah, why is it so hard, do you all think, to discuss in our community, right? What makes it stigmatizing? What makes it embarrassing? Like lots of people do it. You know what I hear a lot? Ooh, therapy, that's a white woman's thing. That's a white person's thing. But why can't it be an every person's thing?
It should be.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I hate when people say that.
Well, that's the thing about mental illness. You know, it doesn't discriminate.
Right.
If you're Black, white, doesn't make a difference. The other piece, though, I think why it's so difficult to talk about it in our community, in the Black community, is that we are so damn judgmental.
Exactly.
You know, we want to put labels on things. We want to, shame on you. You know, you were a terrible parent, and this is the result of your terrible parenting. Get away from that, you know, if in fact you are sincere about, getting those people the help that they need.
Right.
No, I definitely agree on that. I also feel like, there's a lot of things that can kind of fall under that category, whether it's, or at least for me, like I went to school in a suburb in Minneapolis, right? And, you know, if you're focused on your books, it's like, oh, you're trying to be white. You're trying to be educated.
Yeah, there's that too.
And it's like, what's wrong with the education? What's wrong with your mental health? What's wrong with trying to better yourself as a person, right?
Exactly.
Because that's ultimately the goal in life, right? You don't want to be stuck in, I don't even know what I would call it, but you know what I mean? So it's just like, at the end of the day, I feel like, and once again, it's my dad. So taught me that, you know, you want to be a leader, not a follower, right?
Right.
And so you got to focus on yourself.
That's
like, who cares? Like, as long as I'm going to make sure I work on me and I'm going to make sure I help out the people around me in my circle, my family, my friends.
Yep.
And so, but obviously we have a podcast and we're trying to reach out to people and let them know, like, these are the resources, these are avenues that you can go down to and better yourself, empower yourself, and whatnot. And so obviously we want to have that voice, but at the end of the day, work on yourself, worry about yourself, worry about your family, worry about your friends.
Right.
Honestly.
Yeah.
You know, it's a shame that, the most profound things that we hear sometimes is on a television commercial.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I think about the commercial, this Arby's commercial that Den Range does.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and he says, one of the things that Socrates says is that if you want to know something about who you are, then you have to think for yourself. You know, don't let, what other people say or what other people say is this or that. You know, don't buy into that, you judge for yourself.
Right.
You know?
Have your own idea.
Yeah, your own due diligence.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Exactly. Yeah. Something on like a smaller scale that I do is I just reframe those words, right? So, therapy is a white person's thing. Nope, therapy is a Black person's thing because I'm doing it.
Yeah.
So, nope. Oh, you trying to talk white? Nope, talk like myself. Right? Like you're saying first, you studying all that. You trying to be white? Nope, just trying to be smart.
Trying to read.
Just trying to read. Right, yeah, yep. Like, yeah, I am trying to read. Yep.
Like, that's what people fought for.
That's what people do.
Yeah.
Especially in college. Right. So just even that like small reframe, is something that I do. Like, nope, I don't. Let's take away, this targeting language. Right. Because then I think it becomes inaccessible. Right. So now all of a sudden Black people can't ski or snowboard, which I tried and fell. So we're all done with that. We can't do all these things, right? And it's like, why? Just because...
I like indulging in some Caucasian activities from time to time.
What's your favorite Caucasian activity to indulge in?
I like going on boats.
Yeah. Do you swim in the lakes?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Ocean. With the monsters. Ocean's different. The monsters live in the lakes.
Tubing? Man, tubing's fun.
That's definitely a white person thing.
Hey, that's... You better get on that.
Do you
I'm telling you, people, you better get on that. I went once. That was fun. That was actually fun.
That sounds dangerous. Papa Glover, what's some Caucasian activities you like to do?
I like home ownership. I like stocks. I like having the bank account.
That's hilarious. Yes.
Exactly.
So, I don't believe that we should classify that as a white or Caucasian activity, but you asked me what I like.
Yeah, no,
I like
you're
that.
so right.
For real.
That was hilarious. No, that was really funny. I think my favorite one is kayaking. And probably just traveling. And Brian.
Yeah.
Where'd you kayak?
Having good credit.
Everywhere. Having good credit. Yes, right?
Credit.
Having good credit,
Man,
right?
credit is key.
Not sweating when I go to get a loan for somewhere.
That's right. Checks don't bounce.
Right. I'm good.
Right.
Automatic bills coming out. We good.
Yeah.
We chilling. We cool. What'd you say, Farris? You said something just now that made me think of something. I kayak all over. But no, you said something else. Oh, credit in America. That's another thing. Yeah. So when you have these things to build credit, right? I saw this on a TikTok video, but then you pay them off. Then your score drops. And then, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because your length of accounts drops.
Correct.
But then doesn't it go back up at some point too? You don't have
over time, yeah.
Yeah, it'll go back up.
It's the 5 C's, so it's I'm not even gonna
anything
name them
about
off.
those.
It's like capital credit.
Yes.
Hold on. Let me pull it up.
Okay.
So I don't sound ignorant.
Yeah, people while you're looking that up, people are, up in arms on TikTok at least. I paid off your car loan and my credit score went down. A, how long? How did it go down? And B, it will go back up.
Correct.
I'm sure it wasn't cut in half.
No.
Of course. No, it shouldn't have been.
You're good. If it's a few points, you're fine. Keep your other, if you got credit cards, but you just paid your loan off, keep using your credit cards.
Absolutely.
Utilization under 30%. I do 10, but do those things. That's what helps build your credit. So I'm just thinking education wise too about these financial matters that, if you go in with a very basic level, right?
Right.
If I pay off my car loan and my score goes down, I'm just going to keep a car loan because then my score will go up. And it's no, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. So I think too, even as Black people become more financially savvy and literate, there are still some of those ins and outs that we have to seek out help to know. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. So we've been talking about mental health, but even financial health is a part of that too. So if you're
Financial literacy is key.
Exactly. And if you're investing and doing stocks and stuff, call someone who knows, right? Ask your bank if they have someone trained in that. Seek out that information. Don't just, you can just do it, but it's okay to seek information and support. It doesn't mean anything other than you want to try something new and you need help doing that.
So I have 2 things. So the 5 C's for listeners are is going to be character, capacity / cash flow, capital. I said capitalism.
Oh, okay.
Conditions and collateral.
I've never heard of those in my life.
Really?
Yeah. What is that?
Character is just who you are. They look at your
damn it, Farris. I know what character is.
No,
what are the 5 C's?
I just said it. So character is just the overall picture of who you are, right?
Right.
On paper. Capacity, cash flow. How much are you bringing in, right?
Versus going out.
Debt to income.
This is for listeners, right?
Right.
Okay.
Capital is going to be everything that you own.
Yes.
Right? Conditions kind of are all right, so where are you working? How much are you bringing in? What's going on? Well, are you salaried versus hourly? If
Conditions of your income.
If COVID hits again,
right,
and you're working in the restaurant industry,
you'll be impacted.
Exactly.
Right.
Because
Conditions.
your hours are going to go down. Okay. And then collateral is what do you actually physically own? Okay, so you have a home, you have a car,
right?
You have $10,000 in stock set aside that the bank can come and get that if they want to get their money back. The second thing though is so generationally Black folks, which is sad, but you see people that they're renting out houses for 20, 30 years, right?
Yeah, really long time.
And it's all right, so you have that payment history.
Yep.
Or just in general, if you're just renting and you have good payment history, right? Why doesn't that not count towards your credit score? Should it not
renting?
Though? If you're renting. If you're paying on time,
no,
right?
That's a good point.
Or you're paying you know what I mean? If you're paying on time, that should count towards.
Something.
That's another thing that I feel like we need to try to have candidates kind of push, you know what I mean? Especially on the state, local, city level, right? Because I feel like they never take that into accountability. And then you have these Black folks who can't get into housing because, you don't have any credit. Well, I've been renting for the last 10 years, paying on time, paying all my bills, right?
Yep. And then you think if you save up all your money to buy a car, now you don't have a car loan to build credit because you just bought it outright.
Correct.
and I'm not going to get credit cards and stuff. Like, yeah, there are lots of ways where people can't get credit. You know what I mean?
Right.
I like that. I wonder what it would take, though. I wonder if it's an overhaul of how we do the credit system here to like include that.
I think that one of the things that might help in that area is that if in high school, they taught financial literacy.
I definitely agree.
Papa Glover, I am glad you mentioned that. I'm going to plug the nonprofit I'm a part of because that's what we do. So I am a board member of the nonprofit At Black Project. I will tag it in the video, and the Instagram is at BLAC Project. I'll put it on our Chopping It Up podcast page. And that it's an arts and literacy nonprofit for little Black kids of color as well. And that's one of the components we've been talking about, having a high school program from grades 9 through 12.
Correct.
Where we talk about financial literacy and not just in terms of like credit cards and what it means paying taxes and stuff. Also what it means in terms of going to college, right? Like, let's talk about student loans. Are there scholarships you can get? Like, so I'm glad you said that.
But I mean, let's be real though. When you went to high school, right, you could get a trade coming out of high school, right? You could be a welder, plumber, carpenter, mechanic. Where did that go? No, you can't. They have classes like,
I see what you're saying. Like you were trained in high school.
You could literally come
to do,
out, right?
I see what you're saying.
So the same way that they did that.
I gotcha.
They need to have, I mean, now you're not balancing checks anymore because everything's digital, right? I mean, some people still are, I guess. But it's like, all right, balancing your money, your finances.
Right.
Credit, how much do you need to use? You don't want to go over technically 25% utilization, right?
Right. Let's talk about what that means, right? Like,
there's certain things that need to be taught to kids because typically you get your first credit card when? College. Right? Yep. You go into the bank, they're like, oh yeah, you have a college account, student account, right? Exactly. Here's your first credit card.
Yes, that was
You're
mine.
living paycheck to paycheck. You got your student loan just paying your room and board.
Yep.
And it's like, well, how many?
And you got a $500 credit card.
Exactly.
Limit.
You're like, oh, I'm gonna go out to the bar. I'm gonna go, buy whatever you want to buy. But at the same time, you're exactly $500, and you use that $500, or you may even go over the limit, which is even worse.
Bank of America lets you go over. Yep.
Exactly, and the interest rate is ridiculous.
Yes, and people don't look at that.
Things like that is something that you need to learn in high school.
Correct.
Exactly.
Or your parents need to teach you. And then, how many parents know that though?
To get that information,
because I know grown adults who don't know this type of stuff.
I feel like I'm teaching my parents.
You're right.
Like, it's true.
I work with adults who can't read.
Yeah.
So and it's sad that they don't have an 8th grade education. They never got a GED.
Yep.
And here they are at 45 or 50 years of age, and talk about, I want to get a GED for what?
Right.
What is a GED going to do for you at 50?
But so, what would you say to them though? Because because I feel like our goals, and this is just in the Black community, not everyone, because I know we're going to get dragged through the comment section, are low, right? Oh, I'm going to get my GED, or I'm going to get just enough so I can get by. No, but what would you say to that person? Like, why not aim for something bigger and better for yourself?
Well, I think that realistically, there are some people who at 40 and 50 years of age would never complete college. But I think that over 40 or 50 years, those people have developed some type of hopefully entrepreneurial skill, which could really lead to them being self-employed. So they'd have the greatest boss that they've ever had. They'll never have to call in sick or late because they're the boss.
Right.
I enjoy that privilege right now, and have, for quite a while. But I think that, schools like Summit Academy, they're excellent, and especially for that mid-range group between 25 and 35 years of age that hasn't decided what they want to do with their life. And a vocational education is just as lucrative, absolutely right, as a college education could be, because the world needs plumbers and carpenters and all the other trades.
And I had a buddy who, he got out of high school, went into low voltage electrician.
Oh yeah.
And they pay for your school, right? I mean, he had to take out student loans for like the books and all that kind of stuff, but they literally pay you to do your job, right? And then as you get your hours of apprentice, you go to apprentice. I don't know the levels, but apprenticeship. And then you go up.
Journeyman.
So journeyman, So you literally start out making like $25 out of high school, $25 an hour.
Out of high school.
How many people were making $25 an hour out of high school?
None.
Definitely was not.
But everybody talks about that's what they need to have.
Right.
Exactly.
$25. You know, and I keep telling them, even if you got 2 kids, $25 is nothing. You know,
I'm glad I don't have kids.
It's expensive to raise children today.
That's what they say.
But I also think that when you look at this situation here, young men, the majority, guys your age, and you ask them, well, what do you plan on doing the next 5 years? I don't know, and they hemming and hawing around. And I say, well, you play Call of Duty? Yeah, I play Call of Duty. Are you good at it? Yeah, I'm good at it. You know what a CAD operator makes? And they say, well, what is a CAD operator? Get a CAD certificate where it's computer animated drafting. If you like playing video games or, maybe think about designing video games, CAD program is excellent for you.
Well, not even that. I mean, you can literally get paid to stream yourself playing games right now.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
Or it's actually called
I don't know.
Twitch.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Twitch.
ALC does that.
You can literally play your game and you're making money.
Sure.
Because people can subscribe to you and your viewership.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
I like that, though.
Right. Because then I think about people who don't know that.
Yeah.
Right? Had no idea. They just were playing video games.
Right.
And now you get to capitalize on a skill you're already good at.
Right.
And now you know what I mean? Now
And
you
a
have to
good
make
CAD
money
operator
on it.
makes between probably $60,000 and $75,000 a year.
Boom.
Easily.
There you go. Yeah. I was thinking, thinking about the vocations we were talking about earlier and how Papa Glover, you would have been able to be, trained in high school to go out, after and get one. Now high schools are so focused on college education. So even if you wanted to pursue, a trade, now you still have to go to school for it. So it's like I spent my 4 years in high school learning something that I didn't want to learn that may not be applicable, especially if I know that I want to be a plumber, I'm not learning those skills. Now I've spent 4 years of high school, not learning what I needed to learn. Now I have to go to a trade school, take out the loans and do all the things, which, is a shorter time than a 4-year degree and stuff.
Correct.
But I just think overall our education system is not prepping our students for this world, right? Now it's, if you don't get a college degree, you're somehow less than, but then businesses don't want to pay you appropriately for a college degree to pay back the loans you took out to go because they said that's what you needed to do it.
Correct.
And we still need plumbers, electricians, CAD operators, and all these things, and no one's talking about that. So there's my rant. Got big issues with the education system, and I'm glad that you, Papa Glover, are sharing your knowledge with your clients because I think even just the exposure is what people just need, right? Just to know there are things like a CAD operator out there, right?
Right. You're right. Cool. As basic as that sounds, that they don't know. I've had people who I've met in my program, and when they come in, I say, okay, what's the plan? And they say, well, what do you mean? What's the plan? Well, what do you want to do? And they'll look at me sometimes and say, nobody's ever asked me that before. Nobody's ever asked me that, what I want to do.
Wow.
They're always telling him what to do. You will do this, you will do that, and take that out of a person who is conditioned to think that way.
Right.
Well, then, that's a lost soul out there.
It is. Yep.
So, man, this conversation already.
I know, right? Could do it all day.
So another question that we had was, what would be your message to the Black youth right now?
My message to the Black youth is to always be aware. Be aware of where you are, who you're around, the people that you decide to associate yourself with, what are they about, And I think that I would also have to turn around and say, I'm hopeful. I am. I'm really hopeful about the next generation that's coming along, you know. I think that if we give up, then we lose. Mm-hmm. If we fight the same fight that we've always fought, we lose. So we have to be smarter. We have to teach in different kind of ways.
Definitely.
We have to make sure that whatever it is that the youth today are saying that, you know, they have an interest in, we need to support that. Because if we don't, you know, we all drive up and down the street, we watch the news, we see what's happening out there.
Yeah.
It won't change. It won't change.
Yeah, and I feel like I've always been a type of person where, I don't know where I heard it from, but you always kind of want to have, like me, I don't want to be the smartest person in my friend group. I don't want to be the most successful person in my friend group. I'm always trying to surround myself with people who are doing better than me, and then I can ask those questions and try to gain knowledge, you know, gain that understanding of how did you get to where you're at so I can get there, right? I think that's important. I think a lot of people don't operate under that same understanding of that guys, right?
Yep.
It's like, oh, I'm just with my partners, I'm hanging out, whatever. Okay, but what are your partners? Your partners, you know, you got some people in jail, some people dead, right?
Yep.
Especially coming from a city where you're from. You know what I mean? And so it's like, that's what I feel like us as a community need to start doing, is just surround yourself with people that you want to be like, instead of the people that are on your same level.
Right.
I agree. And I think that surrounding yourself with positive people and people who are moving in the same direction that you want to use is critical, you know, for your success. But I also think there's another side of this coin too, you know, and that is that, you know, it's sad that the majority of Black men, you know, who have teenage sons, you know, and some daughters, you know, today, and they're in prison, you know, so that mentor, that positive reinforcer that, you know, you grow up with, you know, that you can always turn to when you need to and say, you know, teach me, show me, you know, how did you do this? How did you do that? That's missing. So one of the things that I think Black youth are very aware of is that older Black men, a lot of us, we have no credibility.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I didn't either.
Yeah. See, we don't have no credibility. We want to call them, hey, young brother.
Yeah.
They say, hey, don't call me bro.
You
I ain't your brother. I ain't your homie. I ain't none of that. You know, you don't think I remember when you sold crack to my auntie, you know, my mama. But I remember that. And now since you went to prison and changed your name to Baba Kazoo, I was supposed to be, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So then who mentors them? How do they get that
They
support,
mentor
that
each other.
guidance? Yeah.
And that's the sad thing.
Yeah.
Kids raising kids.
The blind leading the blind.
That's it. That's it.
I think this would be a good plug for some community resources. So again, the Black Project, we have a mentorship program as well. But I also think about longer, more established community groups like the Boys and Girls Club, you know, YMCA, those type of things. Big Brother, Big Sister is one. I think my sister did it for a little bit, and it was really great. And I think those organizations have a pretty good stake in the community.
And standing.
And yeah. So I think that credibility and just kind of reminding Black men, talking to y'all, to reach out to these organizations and do it. It's what I think my sister, when she was doing it, 3 hours a week. I'm using air quotes. That's what they say, right? But of course you can do more. She did, you know, you go for an outing and stuff like that. But it doesn't have to be this big chunk of your time, right? Like our kids need you. They need you out here. Here's your call to action, Black men and women. Like our kids need us. So we need to be doing those things and showing up in that way.
Right.
So there's my community plug.
So real quick, I thought we were going to be able to talk more about this, but I'm looking at the time. I know we're coming up short. So in a sentence or two, what does reparations for Black people look like to you?
Tax credits.
Yep.
Okay. Chartel?
I like the tax credits. Direct payments.
Evanston, Illinois is trying it right now.
I heard that. Yes.
Yeah.
They got 4 black people, right?
4 black people.
Hilarious. Let's try it out in this community. Yes.
I would honestly say, debt relief, whether that's student loan forgiveness.
I like that too.
I feel like we should be able to go in and get a loan at 0%.
Yep.
That's how I look at it. Or, getting rid of state income tax, federal income tax.
Yep.
State, I can see. Feds, I don't believe that that's going to happen.
They've
been trying to do that in Nevada for 100 years probably.
Get rid of the federal tax.
Get rid of the federal tax because they've already eliminated state tax in Nevada.
Gotcha. Okay, moves. Yeah, and I think we should also say these are all doable things.
Absolutely.
And they have been doable things to other race and ethnicity. So that's the thing too. I don't think people talk about when we talk about reparations of black people. They have done it with like Japanese
they always skip over
and Jewish people. They have done it already. So it's doable.
Chartel, what has you exhausted?
Whoo, child, Lord, America. You know what has me exhausted? This vaccination shit. I am sick of it. And not like the vaccine. I'm sick of how it's dividing people.
Politicized.
And
polarized.
It's politicized and polarized, right? Like, oh, you're not vaccinated? Oh my God, you're vaccinated? Like, I hate all of that. And then POTUS, made that Instagram, I saw it on Instagram, made the announcement that now if you're fully vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask, right? Who's checking that? And the governor of Minnesota is like, oh, if once we get to 70%, you don't have to wear a mask. Or I think he partnered with, I don't know. I think they're on the same page. Like, we don't have to do masks, right? Okay. Mayor Fry and the mayor of St. Paul's like, nice try. Y'all better wear a mask in these cities. Right. Carter, Mayor Carter. And so I am exhausted with that, right? Just the polarizing. So now if you don't get the vaccine, you're like an anti-vaxxer or a Trump supporter, right? But if you do get the vaccine, you're a sheep and you are stupid and you shouldn't believe in science. And I'm like, goodness, can people just
if you want the vaccine,
can we just do what we want to do?
If you don't want the vaccine, don't get the vaccine.
Right. Don't guilt me into it. Right. And it's guilt either way. So guilty if you get it, now you're a sheep. Guilt if you don't, you're an idiot. So, and I think I'm just tired of how people, damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I am exhausted with how people are treating people. So.
Anything got you exhausted or you want me to go?
Trumpism.
Oh. Trumpism, yes, Trumpism, I'm telling you.
I'm so sick of that. And he, the guy's gone.
Right.
Yes.
And he's still.
Well, you said he's coming back in 4 more years.
Like herpes, go away.
Yes. Like herpes,
Get away.
This guy just won't die.
Lord.
God.
I'm telling you.
Well, it's funny. I think Chartel talked about it where it was like, the gas prices are going up. There's a bunch of stuff right now where people are like, man, Trump didn't look too bad.
Look, I did make jokes.
Yeah, but there are reasons why gas prices are going up.
Exactly.
Didn't have shit to do with Trump,
Yes.
So didn't have nothing to do with his policies.
Exactly.
Nothing.
So,
and I blame him for the polarizing of the vaccine and shit. You made science look terrible.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's science. If anything is based in facts, it's science and math. How do you think they get through? Anywho, that's, like you said, we ain't got time. So Trumpism exhausts you, Papa Glover.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep my exhausted very short.
Farris?
Just what we talked about at the beginning, the Tim Scott, Kamala Harris. I just feel like, once again, we always touch on this. I think it was Candace Owens the last couple of weeks for me.
Stay playing.
And now it's, Kamala and Tim Scott. Like, you have to use your voice in a way. And I get it. I'm not a senator. I'm not in politics. So I know there's certain things that you can and cannot say because it's your job on the line. That's your livelihood, your money. I get it. But to go out there and just be saying just foolery is
right. Why
can
you say that, but you can't say that Black people deserve reparations? So you can say one end of the spectrum,
that we don't
right?
deserve them too.
But y'all want to call her Black. I'm gonna just say it, fine. But y'all think she Black? All skin folk and kin folk, and I'm sick of it. Oh, don't even get me started.
Where can they find you at?
My home Inc. is located at 651 University in St. Paul, Minnesota. We're a block off Dale, or half a block off of Dale. And a local landmark that you might recognize is Hickory Hut Barbecue. I'm the building next door.
All right.
Just want to shout out so you can also find them online.
Yes.
At My Home Inc. AATI. So that's MYHOMEINC AATI.com.
All right. All right, you guys, it's Chartel again. And you, of course, can find us on the Chopping It Up podcast on Instagram, CHOPPN, It Up Official. And then Twitter, it's at Chopping It Up Team. Facebook, the Chopping It Up podcast.
And it should all be on the pod. I think it was, it'll come up under our.
So watch through the credits so y'all can see
exactly.
it. Yeah.
And then lastly, anyone who knows app design, hit us up, please.
Yes.
We have a couple of ideas that we want to do.
Yes. Please,
But
please.
other than that, this was an excellent episode.
It was
Episode
great.
4.
Yes. Yes.
I
So
love the conversation. It
it's
was
great.
dope. It was fun.
Yes. Thanks, Papa Glover, for coming
thank you for
on.
coming.
Welcome.
Definitely
You
appreciate
guys,
it.
yes,
Very
like,
welcome.
subscribe. We're on Spotify, YouTube. We'll be on Apple in a few weeks. So,
Man,
show us some love. We out here.
Comment, subscribe.
And message too with topics, all the things. So, yes, you
All right,
guys are
folks.
great.
Thank you for
we
listening.
Appreciate it.
Excellent.
Bye.